Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Daily Tear, where we spill all the tea on anything and everything you need to know.
I'm Resh,
And I'm Shaun.
your host for today's episode, and we are going to be talking about why is asking for help so hard?
Right. Well, prep your tea, take a seat, and let's go. Well, hello Resh, how are you?
Hi, Shaun. How are you? It's been some time.
Yeah, it's been some time since our last meet. That's insane.
Of course.
Yeah.
And a lot has happened already.
Exactly, a lot has happened. Well, it's so happy to be here again and talking to you. Well, I just have
Likewise.
this very important question that has been bugging me in my head for so long.
Sure.
And it goes like this. What is help and why is it important?
What is help and why is it important? Well, there's so many types of help. There's so many kinds of help. You help someone physically, you help someone, verbally. But essentially, help is the process of assisting another person with a problem, and that is referred to as help. Why is it important? Well, it's an opportunity to learn and improve yourself, especially when you're in a tough spot and you need guidance. You learn a lot about yourself. And ultimately, there's better results when you learn from something, from an experience, when you get help, when you ask for help. And I think it's really important. It's really important when you navigate through life, especially. It's important to ask for help and not just, thinking that you can handle everything on your own.
Wow. Yeah, it's actually really, really good what you just said there. When we talk about why help is so important, that there are reasons why to this. Well, basically there are three reasons why asking for help makes you a stronger person. When you ask for help, you're in a situation where you need support. It's obvious. It's good to reach out for help. It's good for people to give a helping hand or asking for help in certain ways that you can help. You can manage yourself. It's good to be uncomfortable. Yes, it changes you in different perspective. You will certainly grow so much as a person from this kind of experience. There's so much experience that you can learn from so many people. You gain perspectives and insights. Perspective meaning like you learn from other people. When you get to learn, when you get to speak or we get to talk or communicate with people, you get to know their insights. You get to know what they have to say, and how people talk differently. It's different, and it's exciting to learn these kind of things, new things especially. We're moving forward. When we ask for help, we're also asking for assistance. And yes, while asking for assistance is painful and might undermine our self-esteem, that stubborn part of our ego that believes we can do anything, that part mainly means it can also make us better, more productive, and at the day, more confident. So yeah.
Certainly. I mean, like what you said, Shaun, it certainly makes us stronger, and it changes you when you are open to receiving that help as well, and like you said, it makes us better, more productive, and more confident. Now, Shaun, this is the part where I'm very, very intrigued
All right.
discuss with you. Mm-hmm. Why do some people find it difficult to ask for help?
Oh, why do some people?
Especially, I think, don't you think it's the fear of rejection?
Yeah, Resh, I do believe like people fear rejection when asking for help. When people ask for help, they seek guidance and they seek help. But at the end of the day, are they ensured that help will come from a positive side? And yes, when we talk about rejection, we talk about this one word, which is no. And I want to ask you, why is no such a powerful word?
No is such a powerful word. It could mean so many things to a lot of different people. And I think the feeling of being rejected, especially when it comes from someone that you really need, like what you said, guidance and help. And if that expectation of the the other person saying, yes, I will help you out, is much more higher.
Yeah.
And, but at the same time, the chances of that person saying no is also high. And I think you don't want to experience the part when the other person says no. Now, that feeling of being rejected causes one to experience feelings that they do not want to wish to experience.
Exactly.
And I think that's why no holds such a powerful meaning, such a powerful word. And yeah, I mean, I can relate to that. I think we both can relate to that,
Pretty much sure. Yeah, we've been through rejection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Certainly.
Yeah, many of us been through rejections. And it's a common norm. But Resh, is this why sometimes people guess someone's response instead of just asking?
Yes, that's a really good question. And yeah, that very well may be, Shaun, which reminds me of a certain culture actually. It's the ask versus guess culture.
Let's go. All right.
So, hear me out, okay? So in the ask culture, right, people grow up in an environment where they can ask for anything and also know the fact that the answer may be no. So when you ask for something, you already know that the other person is, they might say no. And it's okay. So one of the most important factors, I think, where you're comfortable with the word no, in ask culture is from family, right? The way you have been raised shapes how you view and approach social situations, And
I see.
I think in people from the ask culture, they're okay with rejection. Like they know, but as long as they ask and not assume.
Okay, but when we talk about these kind of cultures, the ask and the guess, why do people fall under the category of ask culture, and why do they value asking?
Well, asking for more questions or for help leads to more clarity. When you assuming could only lead to more miscommunications or misunderstandings, and it just disrupts the whole process of communicating, right? And it also benefits. It actually has its benefits where you can actually learn about another person's way of thinking, their perspective, where they're coming from, what they're trying to say, and it's not exactly what it seems. You are not guessing it in any way. You are hearing it from them, and you will learn more about that person, how they think, because it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
And in the guess culture, on the other hand, people might avoid asking for help or requesting help unless they're quite certain the answer will be yes.
All right.
Now, I believe this is where people, in the guess culture, it's like you're expected to know everything.
Yeah.
Exactly, and here, asking for help might be seen or looked differently. It could also, look like as if one doesn't know anything. Like, if you ask for help, it's like, but, you don't want to look a certain way where you don't know anything. So you assume the other person's response. Guessing another person's response could only lead to so many complications, especially when it comes to communication. Again, it really disrupts the whole process.
Well, that was well put in context. Thank you so much, Resh. I do believe everything that that was being pointed out. It's actually so much to understand. It's in this culture, there's so many cultures, but it's difficult. It's difficult to understand this kind of stuff. But I believe by asking the right questions, we could definitely help people understand better. So, leading back to what I want to talk about, the guess culture, how do you ask for help even though one has grown up in a guess culture environment?
How do you ask? There's many ways of actually asking, but I think it comes down to first practicing asking for help.
Okay.
And it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes along the way. We're all learning in the end. And what can you do? Especially when you grew up in an environment where sometimes that is the only thing you know. It's hard. Change is hard. Learning is hard. And there are steps to be taken. However, one could always learn. You could always learn and also practice asking rather than guessing to avoid miscommunication and misunderstandings in situations, because assuming can only lead to more problems.
Right.
And
Right.
plus, we're not mind readers.
Yes.
You
True.
won't know what the other person is exactly thinking. It could be entirely different in their head, in their mind. And
that's a really good approach. I think it's something that you can all take inside. But now, Resh, again, one more thing I want to ask, like, when we talk about people like this in these cultures, how does a person from an ask culture work with a person from a gas culture?
How does a person from an ask culture?
Best of both worlds. Best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds. Well, it's certainly difficult because communication is actually quite difficult. It's difficult for a lot of people, including myself, and we're all learning. And I think it starts with empathy. Everyone communicates differently, and having that space of understanding someone else's approach is important, because you don't want to offend anyone. You just want to learn, and you want to communicate better with that person. And two cultures coming together, the ask and the guest culture coming together, it's certainly going to create some type of challenge for both people who comes from these different two cultures. But there is a way, and the effort and of trying to understand the other person, and also it comes from a place of empathy. It comes from a place of knowing that it's okay that that you don't know, but what you could do is ask and get more clarity to understand the other person, because then again, we're all different. No one is perfect. No one is perfect. And everyone comes with flaws and all, and that's okay too. That's okay. But we're all here to understand each other better, and it's okay to make mistakes.
I mean, like how the saying goes, asking you shall receive. So it's very important asking.
Yes, very, very good, Shaun.
Oh wow, I'm learning too.
That's good.
Well, I mean, okay, moving forward, besides the ask and guess culture, there's also another culture which is called it's a two-sided culture, which is called individualistic and collectivistic cultures. Now, Resh, could you explain about individualistic cultures?
Certainly. So, people in individualistic cultures, they think differently, where individualist culture highlight the importance of each individual taking care of himself or herself without relying on other people for help. Now, independence is, valued very much highly in society. And if you know how to do things by yourself, you are already deemed as, this person is really smart, this person can handle everything and anything, in a way, quote unquote, the really like a superhero,
Sure.
could handle everything,
superpowers and stuff.
correct. And but then again, it also comes down to how they grew up. Maybe in their family, people, they're all individualists in the family, where you have to know everything. You have to make sure you are independent. You have to, in a way, sometimes there's this pressure where you have to conform to it, growing up, where you have to learn everything by yourself, this independence, and it can also give a little anxiety to a person growing up, in an individualistic culture, where you have to get everything right. You have to make sure that you do not depend on the other person, because you might look like you are codependent, and codependency in a lot of people's minds is weak. And that's not the case, actually, that's not the case. But then again, independence also is a good thing. It's not entirely a bad thing. You're able to carry yourself and move forward. You don't have to rely on others, which is a good thing, when it comes to certain contexts, certain settings. But essentially, it's quite important in society. I can see that. Individualistic culture,
I think there are different aspects to it as well, coming from different people. When we talk about individualistic culture, there's also its arch nemesis also, which is the collectivistic culture. So yeah, I I I wouldn't say that I know much about this culture, but I am sort of like part of this culture, okay, but people in the collectivistic culture are more likely to seek help from family or friends, like in a group setting, like especially during difficult times, like these difficult times, like in one's life, those individualistic cultures, those individuals in those cultures are more likely to be involved in a group setting, and rather being alone, they would like to associate themselves with people, with their peers, or with big crowds, rather than being a lone ranger. So yeah, and I would say I myself am a part of this culture. I love being with people. I love talking to people. I love talking to you, Resh. Yes,
Oh, I love talking to you too.
it's what is going a collectivistic thing going on here. But it's me, and there are people out there. It's different. That's why. So there's so many types of people. There's individualistic people. There's also collectivistic people. People are different. Can always think of people the same. Yeah.
Correct. And you could be a mix of both.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
entirely that you are just categorized under one culture. You could be a mix of both as well, and that's okay. Then
okay.
again, like, it's about understanding people who come from both sides of the culture. And yeah, I mean, collectivistic cultures, they're more group centric, and they would put the group members or team first, instead of themselves. Think what they think, and make sure that they're okay. And yeah, and it's really lovely, actually. It's really lovely to be part of a group setting where you can take care of each other. And it's nice. It has its pros as well. It has its pros as well. And
yeah,
these
exactly.
cultures, you can see it in colleges when you are doing assignments. You can see how much some people, they love group settings, and and then you can also see the part where some people prefer doing work alone, and friend groups. If you love being part of a friend group, you're also part of the collectivistic culture. You can see it a lot in society, from family to friend groups to in a workspace.
Yeah.
And
So true.
yeah, and plus, like, who knows, like, you could be a collectivist person, but as you grow, you could end up being an individualist too.
It could change.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could change. You could change over time. It's never fixed. It's never fixed.
Exactly.
People are always changing. You are always changing. You're getting to know yourself, and it's good. But and this is where, when asking for help, this is where the conflict begins, where it's difficult to seek help if you're a person that takes a collective approach in an environment that values individualistic traits or personalities. It's you're seen as like weak. You're seen as weak, or you're very codependent. Again, it's tough. It's tough, And this is where communication comes in, and this applies to both personalities. It can actually work, It can actually work together if both sides can communicate well and hear each other out. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. When you ask for help, you want to grow. You want to grow, and you want to learn from the experience. You want to be better. You want to improve yourself. And it is not a sign of weakness. Not at all. Not at all. You learn so much about other people in the process. And along the way, you learn a lot about yourself. And as long as there is an open communication of understanding each other and trying to work things out, it can work. It can work. It can go a long, long way.
Wow. Well put, Resh. That was very good insights. Thank you so much. Yeah.
No worries. And there are other signs too, Shaun. And yeah, I mean, like, what else do you think people are afraid of when they ask for help?
What else? Well, besides the word no, I would say anxiety. I believe there's anxiety when it comes to interaction. I believe
certainly
everyone has this part of themselves where just like having anxiety towards asking, which is known as interaction anxiety. So to pinpoint more on this, for example, people are much more willing to ask questions to people they feel comfortable with. So this is part of the interaction anxiety. So they only cope and more relatable towards the people that they know, that they feel comfortable with. Well, I could really say, for example, if people are comfortable with their family, their parents, their moms and dads, those are the people, or their closest friends, those are the people. So yeah, it's all about being comfortable in your zone, in that zone. Well, you approach, you can also say your therapist or your counsel. Some people do go to therapy, some people do go to counsel, and those are the people where they seek help from and they ask questions to them. So, in particularly to the people that you trust the most in your circle, that is hands down why that's how interaction anxiety works. Yeah.
And interaction, certainly, Shaun, interaction anxiety is real.
Very
especially
real. Yeah.
If you're someone who is an introvert and you're in a group setting and you need help, like it's hard asking for help because you don't know the person. If you just come in fresh from college and you want to make friends or you need help in an assignment or some project, it's hard. It's hard to talk to that person because you don't know how that person is going to react. You
don't know people's emotions. A lot of people don't know people's emotions.
Yeah, you don't know the people's emotions, you don't know how it is, how this person's going to think. And I think that creates this anxiousness, this anxiousness brews in you, and you just end up closing off. Some people end up closing off, some people not, they don't want to seek for help.
Want to open up,
Want to open up. And it's important to know that not everyone is ready to be open. Not everyone is vocal. Some people are highly introverted, and it's not that they are extremely scared, and it's not something to make fun of. Interaction anxiety is real, and it starts with empathy. Empathize with the situation, with the person, and talk to them, be approachable, slowly talk to them, and know that it's okay. It's okay to have these feelings, and not say things like, oh, it's okay, like generalize the situation. No. Make sure that the other person feels safe. Create a safe space for them, so that they can approach you.
I think a safe place, a safe zone for people to come together and talk about it and ask.
And ask. Have that safe space of approach where you can ask anything without having that fear. Exactly. Be that person, be that trustworthy person. You could make a change out there with so many things, by just having that space for that person to approach you and not judging that person immediately. I think a lot of people out there, they judge people who are quite quiet. But
True.
There's so many things also going on in their mind. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know what's happening in their life. And you don't want to assume as well. So again, ask if everything's okay.
No harm. There's no harm in asking.
There's no harm in asking. But there's harm in guessing though.
There is harm in guessing, exactly, yeah.
There's harm in guessing.
Assumption will always lead to, like you said, miscommunication. Yeah. Not understanding the context.
Correct. And miscommunication is really easy. It's very, very easy to misunderstand someone. Yeah, it's so easy. When we were talking about our previous episode, both of us, we faced that.
How we met in the middle. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. Can we be in the middle? Yeah, that episode, exactly. Like it took time for both of us as well. We assumed about each other. Exactly. And in the end, it created a really massive, fight. And both of us, it took time for us to recover and, recuperate ourselves and come back together and work with each other again. But, after talking out and, both of us asking each other's questions, and that's where we found out that, we just assumed about each other.
Yeah. Because like the famous saying of our people is that I thought you did this, I thought of that, and you see, you thought, but is that really what it's about? Is that really the answer? No, it's not. Yeah.
No, it's not. Yeah. And it's so easy, right? It's so easy, Kan, for both of us. We fell into that, and it took so long for both of us to get to the place where we are right now, And
I have a problem probably back then, or even a worse problem of like guessing. I like to assume stuff, and I never like to ask people, and I think that was my bad habit that I had with me. That's why I guessed it that, oh, okay, maybe Resh is, she doesn't like this, so I don't really want to approach her. But hey, at the end of the day, she's not like that. So yeah, guys, I guessed wrongly, and that's wrong. You should never guess. Yeah, I think that's.
Likewise, Shaun. I thought that, I guessed that, you are forever going to be that guy where you're never going to do work. Oof. But hey, you've changed so much, and you're not that person. Then again, see, coming back to the point, people do change. They are not certainly fixed. People do change over time.
Yeah.
It's either for the better or the worse, but hey, look at you now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, speaking from experience this year, I've been corrected many times from a friend where, I used to guess what she thinks or guess what she would say, what's her response like and everything. And
all right.
She has taught me a lot that, you don't guess someone's response, you ask for clarification. And thanks to her, I'm more aware now, and I ask questions now, and to avoid those misunderstandings and miscommunications. And yeah, we've been good. She's a really nice person, because it was difficult first communicating with her because she's a person from the ask culture.
I see.
And I'm a person from the, I used to guess, right?
The guess culture.
So, yeah, the guess culture.
Okay.
Yeah. And after talking to her and after realizing that, I can actually really improve myself. And she's right. She's absolutely right. Where, you're not supposed to guess the other person's response, because why would you? You don't know about me. So, it's best that you ask me. And I really love that she gave me that space where, to improve, to learn, and not immediately like ostracize me or push me away.
Right.
I gotta really honestly thank her. So shout out to you. You know who you are. And
yes, shout out to whoever that is. You're hearing this podcast right now. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks to her, I've learned a lot. And she has also validated my feelings. So she didn't push me away, and I really thank her for that. And yes, back to where we were talking about interaction anxiety. Anxiety is real. And I hope that people out there do take a very, safe approach to people who has anxiety, especially interaction anxiety in this context, and know that, give that person the space to grow and talk, and not immediately judge or assume, or assume that this person is forever going to be that way and it's difficult. No. Try and talk, try and communicate, put in the effort, put in the work, and you'll go a long way, certainly.
Exactly. Absolutely. Well put into verse. I believe that there has to be every difference when it comes to asking. Okay, when we talk about, moving on from anxiety, asking again, what can we do to make it easier for us, for everyone asking for help?
It starts by creating that safe space.
Yep, like you said, the safe space.
Safe space. Correct. It's actually really important, Shaun, having that space, because that's where it all starts. That mutual respect, that and you're being vulnerable, and vulnerability is very important. When you're being vulnerable to another person, you're showing that person that, hey, this is what I'm going through, and it's difficult for me, but I'm trying. Are you willing to work this out with me?
Yes.
And having and creating that safe space for a person to express their emotions, why it's difficult, why it's so difficult asking for help is important. And listening to that person, actively listening to that person, why it's important. And also I think the next thing is reframe seeking help as a strength rather than a weakness.
Okay.
It's not a weakness. Asking for help is, again, not a weakness, not at all. It's actually a strength. When you are going through a difficult situation, oftentimes people, including myself, I've tried my best to work things out by myself, because I grew up in a culture where it's very individualistic, where I had to know everything right off the bat, and if I didn't, it just it comes off like, oh, I'm not quite well versed or well aware enough to help myself independently. And it has definitely took a toll on my self-esteem, and also and my anxiety has amped up. So coming from a family where you have to know what you're doing, and asking for help was deemed as really looked as a weakness. And as I grew from that situation, I realized there's so much of expectations I put on myself, and I'm sure there are other people out there who can relate to this, where putting so much of expectations on yourself, it just hurts you. And I've learned along the way to open myself up and drop my ego, and also
Resh, have ego? Until now?
Yes, I.
Okay.
Hey.
Probably why how did we meet in the middle? Okay.
Hey.
That's how it all started.
Shaun.
Yeah. Sorry.
But
safe space, create a safe space. Yeah.
You calling me out here, I'll say it. Yeah, I do have ego, and learning to manage that ego, and put it down, and learning to be humble is part of the learning process that I've experienced.
Right.
And right now, asking for help, I do ask for help. It is very important, asking for help. And yeah, now I've learned that is not a sign of weakness, not at all. And to you guys who's listening to this podcast, know that it's okay to ask for help. You are strong. You are seen. You are not disregarded. And it's a good thing that you're asking for help. It's a strength. And it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes along the way. You're gonna learn from it regardless. You're just gonna learn from it. Sure, it's gonna suck for a while, but in any situation, it's gonna suck. Sometimes, especially when you are from an individualistic, independent culture, sometimes you're gonna feel that feeling where like, man, uncomfortable, asking for help. But know that it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to ask for help, because in the end, you're just gonna grow. And mistakes only makes you grow. You're gonna learn from it, and you're gonna pick yourself back up, and you're just gonna move forward from there. You're gonna do fine. You're gonna do just fine.
Well, you caught me there. I was like gazing into your world. But yeah, that's really true. Like how we all need to pick ourselves up. At the end of the day, learn from mistakes. There's really nothing wrong, guys. When and how that from how we can make it easier, asking for help. If you're gonna meet someone, if you're gonna to get to know people, share a story about yourself. Share a certain part of your life to someone, so that that okay, I probably may need help in that area of my life, or I may need a certain guidance in this way, so I can go to the right path. Be open, be honest. See, at the end of the day, when we talk like how Resh, when you brought up ego, you gotta be honest, you gotta be open. You can't always be in the closet. You can always hide yourself from people. People are gonna think that, yo, dude, are you okay? Where you don't talk much. Yeah, but at the end of the day, don't assume. Maybe that person's going through some stuff. There are so many occasions that people need seek even medical attention. But for this, it's more towards just asking someone's help. If you need like if you need that, request it. It's nothing wrong. So yeah, but that's if they request advice. Then you
Yes.
then you go to them, then you help them. If they're okay, if they're cool, it's cool. That like that the saying goes, like mind one's business. But you will eventually know when someone needs help, and then that's really eye-opening. If you can actually help someone's life, it's going to be really impactful. So Resh, that was super gross on the things that you said. I was so engrossed in it.
Yeah, I mean, like what you said, Shaun, like, I think giving people that space and time as well, giving that person time to also, process those feelings.
Exactly.
Because asking for help for some people is really, really hard. Talking about it here with you, I've realized how difficult it is actually. I've been reminded of the days where I needed help, or when my family or friends needed help, and it took a lot for them to ask, and giving them that space and time is so important. And not just that, it's important to understand yourself and other people's emotions on how they seek help, because like again, everyone is different.
Yeah.
Everything is not entirely the same. What may work for you may not entirely work for me, and vice versa. And it's a learning curve, it's a learning process for everyone here.
Very very much. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. At the end of the day, you gotta be a good listener. You gotta put the effort into just listen to people. Sometimes it may be hard. It may be hard listening. I know I know people tend to want to talk more than actually listen. People want to say their opinions, to say their facts, rather than listening to other people's opinions. And that's normal. That's the human human norm of like wanting to just talk your points and not listening to points. But we got to be good Samaritans. We got to be good good peers to our friends. A good son to your mom, or a good friend to your best friend, or a good brother to your sister or to your brothers. And there's so much to learn, really, Resh. I think what we've spoken out hasn't even scratched the iceberg. We've only said so much. So yeah.
Certainly, like what you said, like you gotta be a good listener. You gotta listen to understand and not listen to respond.
Yes.
And that is something that I feel everyone can learn from this. And it's not easy, of course. It's not easy, but then again, it's a learning process, and you can always learn from it. And it's okay to make mistakes, but as long as you're putting in the effort, again, you can go a very, very long way. And oh my God, Shaun, sitting here with you, certainly I wish we could really talk more about this, but we have come to an end. We have come to an end of this episode.
Oh,
man.
No. All right.
I know, but we'd love to hear your insights on what was discussed here.
Exactly.
And you could always share your thoughts on our Instagram at @theyouth_official_, or send us an email at youthofficial2020@gmail.com.
Yes, certainly. You can also email us any questions or topic suggestions that you would like us to talk about in our future episodes. Do remember to also check out our website and Instagram account for more info.
It's us, for the youth, by the youth, about the youth. Till next time, Shaun and Resh signing out.